Breaking news! With the NFL offseason heating up and teams making unexpected moves across the board, something major might be brewing in Baltimore, and it involves one of the Ravens' most beloved stars. We're talking about whispers that just won't go away, speculation that's only grown louder despite a quiet front in recent weeks. Could it actually happen? Could the Ravens pull the trigger on a deal that would shock the entire fan base? But before we move on, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens," down below. Now let's talk about what's got everyone on edge. The possibility of tight end Mark Andrews being back on the trade block. It all started swirling again after a flurry of movement involving AFC contenders. The Miami Dolphins made a surprising move by sending Johnny Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That, in itself, raised eyebrows. But then NFL insider Tom Pelissero reported that the Dolphins were now actively exploring new tight end options. And just like that, the rumors surrounding Mark Andrews reignited with full force. Miami didn't stop at Johnny Smith. They shocked the league again by pulling former Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller out of retirement in a trade with the New York Giants. On the surface, this might look like a done deal, like Miami filled the need and they're ready to roll. But when you look a little deeper, the picture changes dramatically. Waller is 32 years old, hasn't had more than 600 receiving yards since 2021, and didn't even play a snap last season. Relying on him to be a major piece in a tight end room that includes Julian Hill and Pharaoh Brown? That's a tough sell. It's not just a gamble, it's a massive risk, especially for a team with Super Bowl aspirations and a defense that just lost Jalen Ramsey. If Miami wants to stay competitive, they'll need to outscore teams, and that means having real, consistent weapons on offense. That brings us right back to Mark Andrews. Remember, this isn't the first time trade talk has swirled around Andrews. In fact, go back to April during the NFL draft. He was actively being shopped. Sources like Cole Jackson reported a spike in trade interest after Evan Ingram signed his deal, with insiders like Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter hinting that teams were circling, ready to make a serious offer. At that time, the Ravens stood firm, reportedly waiting for a third-round pick that never came. Some teams allegedly floated fifth-round scenarios, but none came close to what Baltimore wanted then. Now though, with Miami looking like they're in a corner, desperate for talent, would the Ravens finally bite? Let's not forget what General Manager Eric DeCosta said during the Combine. His comments about Andrews were anything but clear-cut. He praised Andrews' leadership, toughness, and everything he's done for the team, but the way he said it raised more questions than answers. It sounded more like a farewell than a reaffirmation, and with the current trajectory, that's becoming harder to ignore. But the biggest piece in all of this? The rise of Isaiah Likely. Make no mistake, Likely is not just the other tight end in Baltimore anymore. Coaches, players, and insiders alike are seeing it unfold. Harbaugh said he believes Likely has all-pro potential. He's been showing out in OTAs. He was dominant at the end of last season, and now he's making highlight grabs in minicamp. It's no longer a matter of potential, it's progression, and it's real. When Likely steps on the field, he brings a unique blend of size, athleticism, and soft hands that's hard to ignore. He's no longer just a rotational player. There's a legitimate argument that he could become the team's primary tight end, if not this season, then very soon. This franchise has been spoiled at the tight end position. Todd Heap, Dennis Pitta, Mark Andrews, and maybe now it's Likely's turn to carry that mantle. Here's where things get even more serious. Both Andrews and Likely are entering the final years of their contracts. Baltimore has to make a big decision soon. Do they extend both? Do they pick one and let the other walk? Or do they capitalize now, get value for Andrews while they can, and lean into the youth movement with Likely? And if the Ravens were to trade Andrews now, they'd save $11 million against the cap. That's not pocket change. That's the kind of money that could go toward extending Justin Matabike long-term, fortifying the offensive line, or even adding another receiver for Lamar Jackson. In an offseason where every dollar counts, $11 million is a game changer. So, we come back to Miami. Are they desperate enough to make a bold offer? Would they be willing to finally send over that coveted third-rounder? If so, would Baltimore say yes this time? And how would the fans react? Let's pick up right where we left off, because this conversation is just getting started. If you're the Ravens front office, this situation isn't just about shipping off a star player. It's a delicate balance of risk versus reward, of long-term vision versus short-term loyalty. Mark Andrews isn't just any tight end. He's a cornerstone of the current Lamar Jackson era. A three-time Pro Bowler. The guy who's bailed out the offense in key moments year after year. Trading him isn't a football decision only, it's an emotional one. It's a locker room shakeup. It's a statement. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes teams have to make those statements. The Ravens have shown they're not afraid to evolve. They let go of popular veterans before. They retooled around Lamar, they rebuilt the receiving core, and they're shifting their identity. If they believe Isaiah Likely can be a legitimate TE1, and all signs point to that, they may see this as a strategic pivot rather than a gut punch. The Dolphins, on the other hand, might be in the perfect storm. They need offensive firepower, their window is now, and they've got assets. Waller might be insurance, but Miami knows insurance doesn't win championships. Real production does, and that's where the desperation factor comes in. If Waller struggles in training camp or, worse, gets hurt again, all eyes turn back to Baltimore. And if the Ravens are still on the fence, that extra push, say, a third-rounder or a player-plus pick combo, could tilt the scales. Now, let's talk dynamics, because even if this deal happens, it's not a guaranteed win for either side. For Miami, they're betting that Andrews, who missed significant time last season with injury, returns to Pro Bowl form in a new system. They'd have to integrate him fast, design plays around him, and ensure chemistry with Tua Tagovailoa, all while keeping the rest of their high-powered offense humming. For Baltimore, you're gambling that Likely can handle the full load, that Lamar continues to thrive without his most trusted target, and that the cap savings and draft capital translate into impact players. Also, let's not pretend this wouldn't stir things inside the Ravens locker room. Andrews is a leader, a fan favorite, the kind of player young guys look up to. Losing that voice could change the emotional tone of the team, even if the on-field production doesn't drop. And yet, Harbaugh and the Ravens staff seem to be preparing for that possibility. From the way they've talked about Likely this offseason to the extra reps he's been getting with the first team, there's a real feeling of transition happening. Ryan Mink's reports from minicamp suggest Likely is not just filling in, he's standing out. Coaches want to see him take the next step, and the opportunity might come sooner than anyone expected. Let's also remember the business side. The Ravens didn't restructure Andrews' contract this offseason. That's a subtle, but telling move. If they had plans to extend him, to lock him in for years to come, you'd expect that work to start early. But so far, nothing. That silence speaks volumes. And think about the tight end market overall. It's thin. There aren't many elite names floating around, and that scarcity gives Baltimore leverage. If they're going to make a move, now might be the best window to get real value. So we're left with this strange, uneasy anticipation. Mark Andrews could very well start the season in purple and black, catching touchdowns from Lamar as usual. But at the same time, the door is clearly cracked open. And in the NFL, when a door is cracked, it usually doesn't stay that way for long. Now it's your turn again. Do you think the Ravens are ready to pass the torch to Isaiah Likely? Or is it too soon to part ways with one of the franchise's most reliable playmakers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let your voice be heard. And before you go, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like button to support the content, and check out the other videos on screen right now for even more exclusive Ravens coverage. Let's keep this community growing. Go Ravens!